Okay, so this video is about me epoxying counters, and you could see a bunch of them online that just show you throwing some color on and really quick stuff. Maybe it's a 3-minute video or something like that. But through this series, I wanted to show you more. This I say series, but the two parts series of doing a countertop. Just wanted you to see all the stuff that goes into it. Feel free to fast forward through it, go into fast speed on YouTube, whatever. But as I was editing it, I really try to give you uh, a glimpse into everything. Okay, so including my frustration and how this counter I didn't like it for a long period of time, and then towards the end it kind of came around. But using different product, I wasn't quite sure. It's first time using it. If I were doing this for a perspective of like, this is exactly how you do a countertop, and it's going to be a 5-minute video or a 10-minute video, this is not how I would have done it. Okay. This is a real world look at me doing counters with new products and kind of figuring stuff out and the bumps and that kind of thing. It's just a more genuine kind of thing. That was the plan. So, but I understand if you don't want to watch the whole thing, whatever, that's fine. There might be certain spots that you like, don't like. I thought about doing a time lapse of it, but here's the problem. I used the GoPro to record the video because I couldn't maneuver a camera and do the work and have gloves with epoxy on them and all that stuff. So I wore a GoPro, and when a camera's moving, you don't want to time lapse it because you could get really dizzy and disoriented watching it. That's just not something you do. So I didn't do that so I didn't want to force that issue, but feel free to fast forward through it or whatever you want to do with it. This is more of trying to give you a really good idea of how this whole process works, including the ugliness and the what the heck is that kind of part of it. Because when you see the videos that are just like, hey, you just throw this together and it looks great, sometimes you think that's how it goes, and that's not really how it goes, as you'll see. So just wanted to give you that information before you jump in, give you a little bit of understanding of what my thoughts were, and hopefully you get something out of it. Thanks. Small counter here. This is a tape dam. You just basically put that around the outside to slow the epoxy from going over the edge. Let the design start to solidify a little bit and pull it. Honestly, I haven't done it this way. I usually just don't do that. But this epoxy is a little bit thinner, and this is what they recommend doing. So I'm going to try that concept. But it's basically going to keep the epoxy up here on the surface and allow it to begin to harden. I think I'm going to wait about 45 minutes, probably pull the tape dam, then it'll slowly roll over the edges instead of just run off. So anyway, have that set up, have that counter there, and then that one there. So this is about a 20 square foot counter. I've done 60 and 40 and I think 120. The 120 I did on site. I was at a commercial place. But anyway, that was a long time ago. I haven't done this in a while, so we're going to see what happens. So I'm using new epoxy, a couple different techniques, new techniques. The primer, I haven't primed prior. I used to layer the epoxy. Completely different manufacturer and different way to do it. I'm following their recommendations and going to be trying some stuff in the meantime. So, going to get the epoxy mixed up. Again, I'm going to try it. You're not going to have a good view when I mix up this epoxy over here. Probably. Maybe you will with the GoPro that I put on here. Okay, so one of the other things to note, so I have heater on here. I have a mini split HVAC system in this office area. I've really kind of converted my office area to do this, but that's set at 70 or so. I also have a clock on the wall that gives you the temperature. Right now it's at 72. It's a little bit warm in here, hence the shorts. All right, so this is a 2-to-1 mix. One part, and what I did is when I took these off, one cap's black, and then there are 2 bottles of this. I just have the one up here, the other one is elsewhere, because I don't need as much of that, enough of that. I don't need all that yet, is what I'm trying to say. Easy for me to say. So you have the B side and you have the A side. The B side is 1 part, A side is 2 parts. So figured out the math. I'm going to do 22 ounces of B and 44 ounces of A. That gives me my 2-to-1 mix. I'm going to pour them separately in here and then put them in there. Am I messing up more containers if I do that? Yes, but these are going to be more accurate than this big jug. I'm just using this to kind of spread out the epoxy and help me to stir it up, making sure that's clean. But yeah, I mean, in the past I've poured it all in one, but again, I just want to make sure this all works the way it should. So on here we have 22 ounces. That's what I'm going to go to for one part. See how I did. Right there, looks really good. Okay, so 22 ounces in that one, I think, and the two. So I'm going to go ahead and that's that one there, and turn this to where I have my. Oh yeah, this is thicker. That's how I'll be able to tell. Okay, a little bit more in there than what I wanted. So yeah, I'll be able to tell them 2 parts thicker, or the, yes. Does it even say, it's base resin, yeah, so the base resin's thicker. All right, now I'm going to pour the thinner in. No, I don't know. We'll put it thicker in there. Okay. The other reason I'm using a bigger mixing bucket, I could have done one in between these two. I have a medium-sized one as well, but it'd be a little bit high to mix up. Also, by having the surface area spread out a little bit more, hopefully it won't build as much heat as I'm mixing it. Okay. And then let me do this again. Can't believe I didn't label those other ones. I'm just in a hurry. Okay. There's that. And we'll go ahead and dump that in there. Usually what they say is to use the thinner, put the thinner one in first, or the thicker one in first, so it doesn't, thinner stuff doesn't splash around if it's in there. Well, it shouldn't matter on this. Okay, there's that. And then let's get this closed up and out of my way. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and dump this in there. Now I am scraping the sides of these because it's unmixed. However, I'm scraping the side with what already has A in it. But anyway, I'm scraping the sides. I'm not going to do that when I put this stuff in the other buckets. I'm going to mix this large batch up, and then you'll see how I split off this larger batch into smaller batches for the colorants. They say to mix this for like 3 to 5 minutes. The faster you mix this, the more bubbles you can get. You always want to make sure you're scraping the sides here when you're mixing it. The reason you don't want to scrape the sides when you go to pour it
into something else or on a counter is because there could be unmixed resin. So that's why they say not to do that. So you do is, while you're mixing, you want to get as much as you can. And the other thing is, when I do small batches, I'll use little cups. 14, I just looked at the clock just to see, use it as a guide. But use the smaller cups. The small cups aren't flat on the bottom. These mixing containers are made for mixing, so there's not like little ridges and stuff. It's perfectly flat on the bottom. That helps with the mixture. The little cups you have to be careful, especially if you're doing small samples, things like that. You definitely don't want to scrape those because you know at the bottom there could be resin that never got mixed up well because there are those little ridges at the bottom of the cup. So I'm just going to keep mixing this, and I'm not whipping it. I'm not using. Some will show you like using a mixing pedal. I don't want to do that because that can really put bubbles in. So, and this is thin. This is thinner epoxy than I used to use. Again, 2-to-1. I used to use the 1-to-1, and the 1-to-1 is more of it's a cheaper mix, easier to do, but it is more cost effective. But this is specifically for countertops, and this is actually lined up for commercial. It's more commercial grade. So it's got UV inhibitors and things like that in it, and it's just better for what I'm doing, at least, I believe. Of course, time will tell. But that's what I'm doing. So this is not one of those epoxies that you could buy just at a Home Depot or, you know, a local place. This is directly from a company that actually makes the epoxy itself, right? Yeah. So really did some research, wanted to figure out the best one. Of course, everything is subjective, but as I researched the different things, UV was a big thing for me. Trying to have it be more UV stable. All epoxy will yellow over time, but if it's UV stable, that means it's got less of, it's going to take longer to do that, and it will be more subtle. But that UV stable is definitely a big deal. Alright, so I've done this for about 3 minutes, according to my clock, and you can see in there, hopefully, no swirls. You're trying to do this to the point that you get no swirls. This is mixed really well. I think we're good as far as that goes. And the bigger the container, the hotter this stuff will start to set up. And what I just did there, by the way, you don't ever want to come all the way out and go back in. That puts air in there. Okay. Probably gonna need more than that for what I'm doing, but we'll see. Oh yeah, unmixed resin right there. Okay. And that's why you don't ever put it on a countertop. You don't ever put the cups on a countertop because you could have something on the bottom of them. All right, so this is probably going to be somewhat fun. But let's go ahead and pour this in here. And then this goes in here. Okay, those are going to be my main colors, and then these will be. Actually, I could put that over there. notice I'm not scraping the sides of this. And I have no idea what colors or where I'm going to use them, really, to be honest. Okay. All right. Still have some clear in there. All right, so this is going to be a brown and white mainly counter. So put that in. And then okay. I'm using dye for these, and then I have some coloring pigment. Let me go ahead and start stirring that up. It's a nice dark brown. I was actually concerned that I might not have enough of that brown dye, but seems like I'm fine. I gotta move quick here. I see, you know, that these are in larger batches, so they'll start setting up. Faster. And I'm mixing some bubbles in there, but I gotta make sure it's nice and mixed up. Okay, so that's there. This one's easy because it's brown. You can see it really well. That dark brown, and then I have, oh, okay. I have Daggy, just like an off-white kind of thing. Mix that up. And so the dyes are opaque. These other ones, these mica powders, and they're less opaque. You know, so you could get veining in there and some other things. You can see kind of how that looks. Doing it. I just realized I didn't tape off the sink. Great. Grand. I need to tape off the sink. And this is glittery. Nice and glittery white. So I need to build a dam around the sink. Oh, darn it. Gotta do that. Now I'm going to do black. That was more than I would probably wanted there, but that's okay. That'll be dark. Black is black. Okay. And oh, I do have a mocha too that I wanted to use as well, which I forgot about until now, but that's okay. All right, here we go. just gonna pour this. In some sort of design of some sort, which you didn't see with that camera because I'm trying to do 3 things at once. Okay, so that's poured there. Let's go ahead and put some white in here. Okay, there's some white. And some Daggy in there. All right, now I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. Need to get stuff on the counters, so let's get this part out. Okay, just get some out here. You can see why we primed it, because you're going to see through some of this stuff here. Let's leave this here for now. Get some of this white out. Don't go too close to that edge. That's not going to work at all. I'm an idiot. Doing this at scale is very, very different than doing it in samples. I can tell you that already. Let's get that out there. And this was already mixed thoroughly. I don't have to worry about it. Do that. Oh yeah, there, my dam is working really well. No, not at all. Put that here, get some of that away from there. Okay, put that there. And then some of the Daggy, some of that in here. All right, put a little bit of black in here too, which is like a gray because it's a little bit gray. subtle. Okay. All right. Just gonna start spreading this out. I can always use my right hand to try to keep my left hand free of stuff. Just get this to move a little bit. I did the calculations based on what they had said, and I'm not quite sure. Just get this to touch. I think I'm gonna definitely have to mix up some more epoxy. I think this one was fine. The first one I did, I think, will be good. Because I think I actually used too much in this one. Perfect. And then just run through here. I have no idea. And I roughly know what I want, but making sure that we get everything covered. Okay. All right, I'll let that kind of sit. I don't really like the flow of it, but all right, let's get some of this stuff mixed up. Okay. Stuff moving. I have that brown on my glove. I could wipe it off, but I kind of want to get some more brown around here because that's really the primary color. not going to worry about. I'll come back and do some stuff, but right now I'm just trying to get everything kind of starting to work together. I don't want those linear lines, but I'm just trying to get it spread first. Plan is definitely to have more brown. Well, we'll see. It's just too white for me right now. Stuff in there. I probably have it too warm in here for what I'm doing. I'm actually gonna. Yeah. Well, we'll see. See, now I'm muddying it up a little bit. I don't want to do that. Different techniques that I use, but again, just trying to get everything covered. Need some more or something. Do a little bit more of that here. What we got here to get the stuff flowing. Just gonna move it through. Doesn't seem like there's going to be enough to flow over the edges. Oops. don't want it to get muddied. It's kind of my concern right now. See a lot of the stuff in the background. I'm gonna have to come back over here with brown. Okay. You see a ton of the underneath color. And I don't want to see a ton of the underneath color. I want to see mostly brown. That one's kind of cool. All right, so yeah, it's 73 in here. It's definitely warm. Okay, so I have the majority of it covered. Some spots here, which I'll go over with some more brown that I mix up. That'll be good. Even the white looks kind of, oh, what am I doing here? Do this. Even the white looks doesn't look super white. Which I thought I put a lot in. So the white is getting muted, it looks like. Okay. that at all. A little bit dark here. So far, I hate it. Just gonna say. Not at all what I had pictured. So let's see if we can save it. I'll just put this down in the middle here. Getting drips because it's coming off the bucket, pretty sure. Okay. Okay. Come over that. Oh. Just make this all kind of brown over here. Kind of make this brown in here. It looks kind of weird. Let's see what that does. Okay. So that kind of helped that a little bit. Streaks over here. I think what I want to do over here is do some isopropyl. See how that breaks up? This here. Some of that sparkle. Okay. And the thing I kind of want to do is run some of this. I'm not really going to worry about the backsplashes right now. This is not the way to do this. So I can do the backsplashes again. I'll mix up another batch. Gives you that nice bronze, golden kind of look. Okay, let's see this in here. Streak of this through here. Oops, well, that's trying to make that just go over like that. I don't think there's enough to flow over the edges. Keep doing that. Okay. So this is what not to do, because I'm just kind of playing here. Okay. That's actually how it's going to look. Some of that. So I wanted more white in certain areas. I've already been at this like an hour. White in here. White in here. White in there. White in here. Okay. Now, feel like the true proof that you don't really have to know what you're doing to throw stuff out there. I'm not saying it's good. I would have said in the past it would have been. I'm worried about this stuff not even getting to the edges. Really, it's been 45 minutes since I mixed it, so I'm just going to pull this stuff off. All right, this is where Scott gets a little frustrated. Mainly because none of the new techniques actually worked very well. Shouldn't say that. It's also warm in here, so I don't have as much time to play on stuff. Hate it. Absolutely hate it. Oh, okay. Okay. Yes, I don't like it. I definitely don't like it. Doesn't have enough epoxy to go over the edges. Oh, man. Oh, this sucks. Probably not supposed to say that, but it does. The only thing I can think of is to that's way too much. Think of is to try to get the edges. Try to get it flat on the edges. This stuff's getting thick because it's been a while. Okay. So I'm just gonna should just be rolling over the edges, but it's not. To break the surface tension of these. I did not. This should just flow. This is weird. sell up, or is it? Yeah, it's starting to sell a little bit in there. Just do this. Gotta let it sell up. Oh man, it's still not all the way covered in certain areas. That's not good. A little bit. It didn't really do a whole lot. Didn't move a whole lot. Metallic does. Don't think I like it any better. Don't think I did. I don't know. Over. Nope. Too big of a surface. Not knowing how this stuff is going to lay out. Throw why? Well, this is kind of a nightmare. Actually like it better with those darker accents. Should just roll over the edges. Let's do some more of these. This I can do like bring it back in here. Just, this part's against the wall. Honestly, I didn't really get a chance to play too much with it. I was more spreading it out, and that's what probably happened. I don't really care about that side, even though it's... Man, that sucks. As you can really see. I don't know how to fix that now. Okay. I'm getting started on this one. Crap. Oh, okay. Well, let's see if we can fix this. Two things I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to get this epoxy on the edge so it allows the other stuff to kind of flow down. It's fighting some of the surface tension there. Okay. Okay. Okay, now the edges, which are cool, do give you this issue here. So what I probably will end up doing is coming back over. All right, I'm gonna stop playing with it for now. Stop playing with it for now. I'll have to do the backsplashes. But I'm going to spray denatured on it. See if that does any good. Using denatured alcohol instead of heat. Let's see if you can see how it does. To pop the bubbles. Sits in there, and then as it disintegrates, you see the bubbles popping maybe. I can't really tell what you're seeing. But just kind of let that do its thing. And then come back. Decide how much I actually hate it. Touch up the edges, probably with the foam brush, and then see what happens. Definitely not my favorite coloring. Definitely not my favorite counter. Not by a stretch. Well, I'm not a big fan of brown and white, so that makes sense. But this is what fits the kitchen, because that kitchen's brown floors and white cabinets. Okay, so I went GoPro mode for a while there because it's just too hard. I can't move the camera around as I go. We're just going to give you a little bit of a look at it. Do I love it? No. It does have some cool parts, absolutely. See that in there? Okay. And if I have the footage from when I was doing it, who knows how that works, because the GoPro stops showing you stuff after a while. You'll see all the messing around that I did, and that I probably got a little frustrated. Definitely did. I do not like how this is happening when I put the denatured alcohol on. You see that going on in different areas. That's why you prime it underneath, but I just don't like what that's doing. I don't know. I'm going to give you a little bit of a view here. Definitely has some self-leveling still to do, but I got it to a point where I didn't hate it. Don't love it, but don't hate it. Again, this kitchen is all white cabinets. It's got a wood floor, so I was just trying to fit what was there, the brown and the white, and I don't know. But the process is the process. Obviously, would have done a couple things differently. I did a big batch and kind of went all the way through. I probably should have just done a panel at a time to get used to like the layout that I was doing, because I was focused more on spreading out the epoxy and getting it down than really working with the design. And toward the end, I started working with the design, but then it was too set up to do some stuff. I do not like what that's doing. Just gonna do that. I don't want these to stay there. It's obviously not a good look. I don't know why I did that. I mean, should have self-leveled. I'm just going to go over like this. Just kind of break that surface tension, hope those reset. Try to match the design that's there, but sometimes it's hard to do. It'll make its own. It'll do its thing, I should say. And the plan from the start with this one was always to top coat it. So I think that will give me a chance to maybe fix some of this stuff. Maybe. But definitely want to make sure I do what I can to get these things going first. Okay. It's a cool look. I just can't get it to go over that edge. I think building the dam, there are multiple things. I think I went a little bit too slow in going back and doing the design. I should have put more epoxy on. So it flowed better. It's been a long time since I did it. And like I said, I'm using a different product. And I tested it. It's not like I did this. This is the first major one, but I tested the product. Tested some different patterns, ways to do things with it, how long it took to set up. So I mean, did not. I felt like I knew what I was doing until I started doing it. I don't know why that's not. That is just not sitting. I don't know. Those are coming back. So my denatured alcohol trick kind of screwed me. So it seems like could have just hit it with the heat gun. Or a torch like I used to, but saw that they're using denatured alcohol to do it. And it actually worked in my test. Another thing, small test. You know, I didn't have as big of a counter that I was doing. It wasn't as set up because by the time you get over to a certain spot, you know, it takes a lot more time, and that's not, you can't test that really. It's kind of hard to test until you do a counter. So, not horrible, but not great. I think I'll be able to touch up some of this stuff. But yeah, I don't know why. The other thing I think of is maybe the alcohol went down to the primer because it was shallow in that area, and then when it went down to the primer, now it's not completely
evaporated, so that those holes are kind of popping back because the denature is trying to come up to the surface. Maybe. It's a theory. Just gotta get that up there a little bit. These edges are probably going to be muddied over. And you can see where that edge is. In the past I've blended that. I didn't because I primed it. I didn't think you'd see it with the primer, but you can. So that's a lesson learned too. By the way, I'm learning these lessons on a donated counter, so I'm not charging a customer for this. Good opportunity to, play around a little bit, learn. All right. See, does this one have anything stupid on it? Oh, that one worked out really well. So the trick is, yeah, that's what it should look like. Okay, so definitely don't have enough epoxy. Didn't put enough epoxy on the other counters. And that's what I'm fighting, which kind of makes sense. But now the epoxy is so set up. I don't know. Do I dare put more on over here? I probably should leave well enough alone. And just do that. I think what I might do, use a light to see if there's any low spots. If there are, I could just drop a little bit of epoxy in there. Oh, real quick thing. I went back to use some of this and just wanted you to see this. It's solid, but I wanted you to see how hot it is. So when we say it heats up to cure. And if you keep it in a cup like that, it'll get hot and it'll cure, and now I can't use that. Again, I took too long doing all of it. I gotta move faster, but that comes with not trying to record and explain, and also just practice. Yeah, that one's got still some. The brown one's still moving a little bit, so I might use that just to patch a couple areas. Alright, so off camera, because I didn't think to record it and I wasn't sure if it was going to work. As the stuff started to firm up, I started to play around with the edges a little bit more, put a little bit more color to them, and get them to lay a little bit better, look like they flowed. Now obviously it's still not perfect. The only way to get it perfect would be to kind of paint it on and then put another coat on, which I might still do, but just wanted to show what we have now. But yeah, I had to let it set up because it was just running over the edge. And as it got a little bit harder, tacked up more, I was able to put a little bit more color in and it stayed. We're going to get ready to do the backsplashes. Now I'm going to mix that up. I'm not going to record that process. Same thing. I'm going to mix up smaller batches. I'm going to have somebody here that wants to actually see the entire process, so I'm going to walk him through it, and then probably let him color some of it. That's the plan, at least. Because backsplashes are a good way to learn, but that's what it looks like now, and you can see from a distance it looks like it flows better than it did before. But wanted to give you that look and give you that heads up on how to
fix the edges. You just let it harden up a little bit more so it doesn't move as much, and then you can put some color on it, and it tends to stay. You know, and again, I could just paint some stuff on here and put another coat on, and may just do that. Not quite sure at this point in time, but that's a theory, just to kind of help some of this come over a little bit better, maybe look a little bit better. But it doesn't look horrible. It definitely came around after I walked away and came back to it. It definitely looks a little bit better. So, but that's where we're at. We're going to get these backsplashes done. See how the process was. I figured we'd do the backsplashes and they could actually do some of it. He did this one and this one. It's kind of cool, so we got to see how it worked. Anyway, I didn't get that on film because we were just, like I said, doing the backsplashes, but showing you now. These are the backsplashes that will go on top of the counters, on the back of the counters. Mistakes were made, again. So I couldn't figure out why it was so rough on this side. I'm like, I sanded it before I primed. And it wasn't until after we epoxied it that I realized I never sanded the actual backsplashes. I was so worried about getting this done that I completely forgot to sand those. Yeah, I sanded these, but I didn't sand these. So it's a little rough on the top parts, but you know, I was able to come in and kind of throw some epoxy on when it got a little bit thicker, so it stayed on the sides and kind of latched on. But you can see, like in here, you can see the ply, and if you smooth that all down and you prime it, probably could have primed it a couple times to get away, or to have that go away, and I just completely messed up. Was in a hurry. I know these counters have to be put in. The person's moving in. What I'll do, the other thing I want to show you, this is another part of the process that you don't really see. See all these nubs here where the epoxy drip comes in? You have it on that one, quite a few on that one, and that. You need to sand those down. Now on this counter, these counters, I was more diligent in wiping it off with a gloved hand and just letting it, there's a couple spots here that are a little bit, but you can see that there are no drips, and that was more because I just kept coming out here and wiping it to make sure that it didn't do that. So if you're not going to spend the time doing that, you can let the epoxy drip, and then you got to sand it down. So those are the two different ways to do it. These I did late at night, and it was bedtime. So now I'm going to sand those up, and those will be ready to go. And this is the bottom part. So I want to make sure there's nothing really big there. But I'm going to go ahead and put it on the bottom and sand. That way it's not on the face. Don't want to risk scratching this all up. It's pretty tough, but I can also use this and lay it on the back. That's actually what I'll probably do real quick here. It's nice, soft. I'll just do that to make this easy. I'm going to go ahead and do 60 grit. These are just going to go to the back of the wall. On the wall, so I just need them flat. I'm not really worried about how it feels because you'll never feel this. If you're on the bottom of a counter, then you'd go finer. But I'm just trying to make this quick as well. So let's see how this goes. So you can see it's not a big deal to do that real quick. And you can do 60 to knock it down and then go 120. I'm not going to worry about the 120 because, again, this is just going to sit against the wall. And this mat helps it from slipping as well. So very nice. That one's done. Yeah, while I have these, I just want to show you this real quick. So this is the bottom of the containers that I use to mix. So that's what it looks like. It's really hard. And this is paper thin, like less, I'm not sorry, not even paper thin, less than paper thin. But you can pop it out for the most part, and then you could reuse those cups. Now I'm not going to use those cups for epoxy because there's still probably some film in there. But I could use it for concrete mix or whatever else, but I could still use those containers. I'll show you what they look like. So they're not flawless. Like I would not mix epoxy in them again, but I would mix other stuff in it. And also, if you leave the stir stick in, it's really easy to pull it out. So you just pop it out later. But that's the clear coat, and you can see how clear that is. But anyway, just figured I'd show you that real quick. All right, back to sanding. Gotta keep that handy. I've had these sitting in a bin forever and a day. Don't even know why I got them initially, but gotta keep that around now. All right, and that's just to make sure you're, that's the bottom. And I'm sanding that and confirming I didn't sand it before. That definitely validates that I completely biffed and didn't sand those edges and tried to make the epoxy cover it enough. And yeah, anyway, but this is gonna go on the counters and I don't want this to be rough as we slide it on. So I'm sanding it after the fact, which is not ideal. But hey, I'm gonna show you the mistakes as well as the successes. If I ever have one, you'll know it. But anyway, that's what we're doing. So I'm gonna wipe these down and get these loaded in the truck for transport. All right, they're installed. Give you a look at it. Didn't record the installation. There were a bunch of people here and we just got rolling with it. I have before and after pictures, but wanted to show you. Silicone caulked, silicone to the wall, silicone counter to the cabinets. I used to screw them in, but actually they say siliconing them makes it easier to pop them off later. Right, and there's this one here. And the stove's going to be right here. But yeah, that gives you kind of an idea. And the nice thing about seeing it in place is you can see kind of what my thinking was. Check out the floor. And the brown gets picked up there. You can see the walls are actually an off-white. I don't know if you can see that in the camera actually. It's an off-white, almost like a little bit of a tan, and there's some tan in there. And then of course the white counters, and there's white in all throughout there. So it kind of ties everything together. The hardwood floors, white, and the paint. And that's the cool thing about this too, is you can match whatever's there. You don't have to put up with, you know, what you get in a laminate or a stone or whatever. You can just kind of go from there. But yeah, it looks really good in here. Took us longer to get that thing secured than it did to put all the counters in. That was fun. So, and then you can see I did the edge here, and this is the only one that I edged the side of, and it's because this is where you come in, you enter in here, and I wanted you to be able to see those two sides as you walked in. You can see it here, so you can see both of those. And then you see that one over there. But the side of that one is actually really tight against, I actually had to, let me show you that real quick. I took a couple pictures of it, but I actually notched the counter to fit it in here a little bit better because it wasn't sitting straight with the front, because when this cabinet was mounted, it was mounted over a little bit. So instead of notching the trim, I just took a little notch out of the counter, which is no problem with the multi-tool, and then it sat right. All right, well there you have it.